Just one night, one town, one final ride before everything changed. American Graffiti captured teenagers under the glow of headlights, chasing jukebox music, first love, and the dread of growing up. But more than 50 years later, the real lives behind those familiar faces tell a deeper story: sudden fame, quiet disappearances, painful losses, and final goodbyes. This is American Graffiti, then and now. The disc jockey in American Graffiti was far more than a voice. He was the invisible heartbeat of that one. Played by the legendary Wolfman Jack, born Robert Weston Smith on January 21st, 1938 in Brooklyn, New York, he was 35 when the film arrived in 1973. His gravelly voice drifting through car speakers and diners and dark California streets, tying together every crush, race, and moment of raw teenage uncertainty. In the film, he feels almost mythical, somewhere out there, broadcasting from the edge of the night, guiding kids about to lose an innocence they do not even know they have. Wolfman Jack captured the spirit of early 1960s rock and roll with a raw authenticity no actor could ever fake, because he lived it. Beyond the movie, he became one of America's most recognizable radio personalities, shaping the sound of an era with mystery and unforgettable style. Passing away in 1995 at 57 after a heart attack. His voice remains one of the film's most haunting echoes. It is the sound of youth fading into static, but never fully dying out. Joe, leader of the Pharaohs, gave American Graffiti its roof edge, proving that a single summer night could turn dangerous and life-changing in a heartbeat. Played by Bob Hopkins, born February 2nd, 1938 in Greenville, South Carolina, Joe was 35 when the film debuted in 1973. He worked because he did not feel like a polished Hollywood gangster. He felt like someone from the streets, just beyond the bright neon lights, carrying threat and strange charisma in equal measure. When Kurt gets pulled into the Pharaoh's world, Joe becomes part of his strange rite of passage, pushing him away from childhood certainty and into the unpredictable freedom of the night. Hopkins gave the role humor and danger, making Joe stand out with very little screen time. His presence added grit to George Lucas' nostalgic vision, proving that growing up was not just about romance and fast cars, it was about risk. Beyond American Graffiti, Hopkins built a massive career in television, often playing rugged lawmen, criminals, and hardened survivors. He passed away in 2022 at 84 years old, following complications from a heart attack. Unforgettable because Hopkins made rebellion feel funny, rough, and real. Carlos brought a burst of pure youthful mischief into the film, a lively reminder that the world of cruising nights was about more than just older to teenagers trying to figure out their futures. Played by Manuel Padilla Jr., born July 13, 1955 in Los Angeles, California, Carlos was 18 when the film came out in 1973. His role works because the movie is built on passing faces, brief encounters, and characters who flash through the dark like headlights on pavement. Carlos adds a playful energy to that world, giving the cast another touch of streetwise charm. Padilla was already known to audiences from his work as Jai in the Tarzan television series, bringing that same natural screen confidence to even a tiny role here. In American Graffiti, his presence helps make Modesto feel alive, packed with drivers, troublemakers, and dreamers all moving through the same electric night. Afterward, Padilla kept working in television and film. Remembered fondly for his youthful charisma, he passed away in 2008 at 52 from complications of colon cancer. Carlos remains memorable because Padilla made a brief role feel bright and quick and full of the restless energy of youth. Falfa's girl appears beside Falfa like a spark in the passenger seat, a flash of flirtation, speed, and teenage danger wrap inside the glow of a cruising night. Played by Deborah Lee Scott, born on April 2nd, 1953, in Elizabeth, New Jersey. She was 20 when American Graffiti came out in 1973. Her role is brief, but it works because the film understands how memory holds onto faces we only see for a split second. Falfa's girl builds up Bob's image, cocky, reckless, chasing attention and victory. With someone laughing beside him, Scott brought a light, playful vibe that fit right into this world of fast cars, loud music, and kids trying to look fearless. Her presence made the streets feel alive with possibility, with every vehicle carrying its own story. Every quick glance suggested a whole life beyond the frame. After American Graffiti, Scott became a familiar face on a TV, starring in Welcome Back, Kotter, and Mary Hartman. Mary Hartman, and other sitcom roles that showed off her natural comic warmth. Her later years were touched by sadness, and she passed away in 2005 at the age of 52. Falfa's girl remains a nostalgic icon, a young face in a fast car, forever caught right before that night changed. Bobby is one of the quieter, gentler faces in American Graffiti, but that is exactly why she sticks in our memory. Played by Lynne Marie Stewart, born December 14, 1946 in Los Angeles, California. Bobby was 26 when the movie hit theaters in 1973. The film isn't just built around big speeches or intense dramatic confrontations, built on atmosphere, diners, streets, parked cars, music, friends, and quick conversations that feel like pieces of a real town. Bobby adds to that rich texture with warmth and ease, helping capture the soft, ordinary side of youth before adulthood starts crowding in. Stewart had a real gift for making small moments feel completely natural, which served her well during a long comedy career. On television, she later became beloved as Miss Wan on Pee Wee's Playhouse, a role showcasing her bright timing, playful charm, and knack for creating characters audiences remembered instantly. She also appeared in many television and film projects over the decades. Stewart passed away in 2025 at the age of 78. Bobby remains a gentle part of American Graffiti because Stewart helped make this cinematic world feel lived in and familiar and quietly human. The blonde in the Thunderbird became one of American Graffiti's most unforgettable images, even though she barely says a word. Played by Suzanne Somers, born October 16, 1946 in San Bruno, California, she was 26 when the film was released in 1973. Her role works because she isn't just some girl in a car, she is a dream glimpsed through glass and neon. The kind of mysterious figure youth turns into destiny for no reason except timing. To Kurt, she represents the road not taken, a fantasy that might change everything if only he can find her again. Somers understood the power of presence, giving her character a glow that made a few seconds feel iconic. That silent, knowing smile captured the movie as deeper theme. The night is full of signs, but growing up means learning that some dreams disappear before you can follow them. After American Graffiti, Somers became a major TV star as Chrissy Snow on 3S Company, later building a career as an author and businesswoman. She passed away in 23 at 76, following a battle with breast cancer. The blonde in the Thunderbird remains unforgettable because Somers turned a passing glance into cinema's purest symbol of youthful longing. Carol brought a sharp, funny, and fearless teenage energy into American Graffiti, turning what could have been a simple comic pairing into one of the movie's most memorable relationships. Played by Mackenzie Phillips, who was born November 10, 1959 in Alexandria, Virginia. She was only 13 when the film was released in 1973. Carol works because she slices right through John Milner's cool guy act with the raw honesty of a kid. She is sarcastic, curious, stubborn, and hilarious, but underneath all that attitude is a young girl swept into an older world of fast cars and late-night adventure. Phillips gave the character remarkable confidence for such a young performer. She matched Paul with quick wit and natural timing. Their strange ride together brings out some of the warmest humor and a quiet tenderness. Just two kids from different worlds crossing paths for a night, then moving on. After American Graffiti, Phillips made it big as Julie Cooper on One Day at a Time. Her later years brought public struggles and recovery. She later became a writer and advocate, turning 67 in 2026. Carol stays unforgettable because Phillips made teenage attitude feel funny, vulnerable, and incredibly alive. Bob Falfa tears into American Graffiti like pure trouble looking for a race. He was played by Harrison Ford, born July 13, 1942, out of Chicago, Illinois. Ford was 30 when the movie hit theaters in 1973. He brought pure tension to the screen, a cocky stranger in a black Chevy, hunting down John Milner and demanding to know who owns these streets. Ford plays him with a gritty, quiet confidence, making Falfa feel threatening without uttering many words. That final drag race against Milner became one of the film's ultimate scenes, where young pride, speed, and mortality crashed together under the dark sky. Back then, Ford was nowhere near the massive star he is today, but the gig kept him close to George Lucas' circle. Just a few years later, he would explode into cinema history as Han Solo in Star Wars, eventually becoming Indiana Jones, Rick Deckard, and one of the most legendary stars ever. Turning 84 in 2026, he is still working on big films. Bob Falfa stands out because Ford's short screen time feels like catching a legend right before he blew up. Butter is one of those background characters who give American Graffiti that realistic, crowded, lived-in feel. Played by Jan Bullins, born August 28, 1951 in the United States, she was 22 when the movie debuted in 1973. Her character works because the film captures being young through a college of small moments rather than one main plot. Butter represents that wild, rebellious streak running through the midnight streets, that feeling that everyone is out searching for something, even if they do not know what. Bullins adds another quick spark of personality to this world of diners, fast cars, and loud music. In American Graffiti, not every face needs a complete backstory. Some just linger like real memories, briefly spotted, deeply felt, then gone. That is exactly why the film still feels so real. After this, Bullins kept her acting career pretty quiet, making only a few quick appearances before walking away from the spotlight entirely. Turning 75 in 2026, her small role as Butter stays nostalgic because Bullins helped bring that night to life. Just another fresh face caught in the warm glow before the world shifted. Peg brings a gentler vibe to the movie. She is one of those sweet faces reminding us that youth is not just about rebelling, but about innocence too. Played by Kathleen Quinlan, born November 19, 1954 in Pasadena, California. She was only 18 when the movie debuted in 1973. Her role works because the film captures high school life through quick glances, stupid mistakes, inside jokes, and unfinished conversations. Peg represents that soft side of the dark where love still feels real and growing up is still a distant problem. Quinlan brought a quiet warmth to her brief screen time, making the entire cast feel like actual teenagers sharing one last night together. That touch was her strength after American Graffiti. She built a solid career in Hollywood, gaining serious praise for I Never Promised You a Rose Garden, and later scoring an Oscar nomination for Apollo 13. She also landed roles in The Doors' Breakdown and several major television dramas. 72 in 2026, Peg remains unforgettable. Quinlan brought a quiet honesty to this portrait of youth, sweet, fleeting, and easy to overlook until time gives it meaning. Kurt is the absolute soul of American Graffiti's uncertainty. He is a young man torn between the town he knows and an unimaginable future. Played by Richard Dreyfuss, born October 29, 1947, in Brooklyn. Kurt was 25 when the film dropped in 1973. He works because he carries the film's deepest question. Should he leave or stay? On his last night before college, Kurt drifts through cruising streets, distant radio voices, and strange encounters. He is chasing a mystery blonde, searching for some sign of who he is supposed to become. Dreyfuss brought a nervous intelligence and raw vulnerability, keeping Kurt restless but deeply human. His story is not about rebellion, but the quiet age of realizing that nobody else can choose your path. You must choose your own path. Soon, Dreyfuss became a defining 1970s star. He starred in Jaws, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, and won an Oscar for The Goodbye Girl. His acting career flourished across movies, television, and the stage. In 2026, he turned 79. Kurt stays unforgettable because Dreyfuss captured the raw, human fear of saying goodbye. Steve represents the clean-cut side of growing up, responsible and widely admired. Ready to leave, but not as confident as he seems, played by Ron Howard, born March 1st, 1954. In Duncan, Oklahoma. He was 19 when the movie came out in 1973. Steve works because he is caught between love and ambition. His relationship with Laurie holds the real, painful tension of a young couple facing separation. One is ready to move on. The other is terrified of being left behind. Neither is ready for how fast life changes. Howard gave Steve a clean-cut charm, but also enough immaturity to make him real. He was no villain for wanting a future, and he was not exactly noble in how he handled it. That complexity is what grounded this coming-of-age story. Famous as Opie Taylor on The Andy Griffith Show, Howard soon became beloved as Richie Cunningham on Happy Days. Later, he became one of the most successful directors in Hollywood, directing blockbusters like Apollo 13, A Beautiful Mind, Cocoon, and Frost Nixon. In 2026, he turns 72. Steve matters because Howard captured the moment a good kid realizes adulthood can hurt people. John Milner is the undisputed king of the strip, but the film slowly reveals the loneliness behind that crown. He was played by Paul Matt, born September 22, 1945 in San Francisco, California. John was 27 when the film came out in 1973. He works because he represents pure cool. The car, the reputation, the absolute confidence of a man everyone knows. But spending an unexpected night with Carol reveals a much more tender, complicated side. John is not just showing off, he is clinging to a world that is already passing him by. Lamette gave him a dry humor and quiet warmth, especially when Carol punctures his tough exterior. This odd pairing becomes one of the film's most human storylines, turning a cruising legend into someone protective and gentle. That final race with Bob Falfa tests far more than speed. It tests John's very identity in a culture where reputation feels like absolutely everything. After American Graffiti, Lamette kept acting in movies and TV, earning praise for Melvin and Howard and starring in cult hits like Puppet Master. In 2026, he turns 81. John stays unforgettable because Lamette made cool feel fragile, aging, and quietly bittersweet. Terry, known as the Toad, goes on the film's most awkward, endearing journey. He was played by Charles Martin Smith, born October 30th, 1953, in Los Angeles, California. Terry was 19 when the film debuted in 1973. He works because he is the guy who desperately wants confidence. He is playing a part before he earns it, borrowing Steve's car, chasing a date, trying to act smoother than he feels. Terry captures that comic pain of being young and desperate to escape his life. Smith gave him a nervous energy, genuine sincerity, and perfect vulnerability. His scenes with Debbie are funny because he is pretending, yet they are touching because we understand why. Under the lies and panic is a kid hoping one great night proves he belongs. That genuine honesty made Terry one of the movie's most relatable characters. After American Graffiti, Smith built a long career acting and directing, even appearing in The Untouchables, Never Cry Wolf, and later directing family dramas like the hit film Air Bud, Dolphin Tale, and A Dog's Way Home. In 2026. He turns 73. Terry remains beloved because Smith made awkwardness feel sweet, funny, and deeply human. Meanwhile, Debbie brought a bright, humorous sparkle to American Graffiti, turning Terry's clumsy night into something far more memorable. She was played by Candy Clark, born on June 20th, 1947, in Norman, Oklahoma. Debbie was 26 when the movie hit theaters in 1973. Her character works because she is not just some pretty girl Terry is trying to impress. Debbie has her own sharp confidence, curiosity, and playful energy, navigating the night with a free-spirited charm that feels deeply tied to the era. Clark gave her a distinct voice and rhythm like anyone else in the cast. Airy, funny, and wonderfully flirtatious, but never shallow, her chemistry with Charles Martin Smith works because Debbie sees right through Terry's wild stories and enjoys his company anyway. That gives their shared story genuine warmth. In a movie packed with major crossroads, Debbie represents the sudden kindness of a night that could have easily gone wrong, but instead becomes unforgettable. Her performance earned an Oscar nomination, launching a lasting career. She later landed roles in The Man Who Fell to Earth, Blue Thunder, The Big Sleep, and various television projects. In 2026, she turns 79. Debbie remains cherished because Clark made youth feel incredibly bright. Strange, forgiving, and wonderfully alive, Judy represents one of the much softer pieces in American Graffiti's sprawling portrait of teenage life, adding quiet tenderness to a movie remembered mostly for cars and music and late-night mischief. Played by Susan Richardson, born March 11, 1952, in Coatesville, Pennsylvania, Judy was just 21 when the movie debuted in 1973. Her character works because the film captures an entire social circle rather than just the loudest personalities. Judy represents the sweetness and nervous uncertainty of young romance, acting as the kind of character who makes the film feel like a living yearbook. Richardson brought a quiet sincerity to her scenes, adding real emotional texture for Steve, Laurie, and the other kids trying to figure out what the future might steal from them. Following American Graffiti, Richardson found fame playing Susan Bradford on the classic family drama 8 Is Enough, where she played one of primetime television's memorable daughters through the late 1970s and early 1980s. Her later years included time away from the spotlight and personal struggles that made her life story far more complex than her early screen image ever suggested. In 2026, she turns 74. Judy remains a beloved part of American Graffiti because Richardson gave the film innocence, softness, and the vibe of a fleeting summer memory. Jane is a brief, graceful figure adding to the film's atmosphere of possibility. Played by Kay Lenz, born March 4, 1953, In Los Angeles, Jane was 20 when the movie debuted in 1973. Her quick appearance works because George Lucas filled the movie with faces that feel like memories, some are central, others passing, yet all belong to the emotional map of this single night. Jane carries a quiet, youthful softness, reminding us of first attractions, social rituals, and how a brief encounter feels incredibly important when you are young. Len's brought a natural ease to the screen, helping the movie maintain its delicate balance of comedy, nostalgia, and melancholy. Following American Graffiti, she built a solid career in movies and television, earning high praise for breezy and eventually winning Emmy Awards for her TV work. She popped up in dramas, thrillers, and long-running series, earning a reputation for deep emotional honesty and understated strength. Her career spanned decades, showing off far more range than that tiny early role ever suggested. In 2026, she turned 73. Jane remains memorable because Len's captured the quiet, fleeting beauty of youth. Those brief moments that seemed so small back then, but only glow brighter as time moves on. Vic helps fill out the background of American Graffiti with the easy, casual confidence of young men who seem to belong entirely to the night. He was played by Joe Spano, born July 7, 1946. In San Francisco, California, Vic was 27 when the film hit theaters in 1973. His part was small, but it fit the movie's overall rhythm. Friends crossing paths, classic cars rolling by, and random conversations starting and ending under diner lights. Vic adds to the genuine feeling that this is a real community of teens and young adults, each with their own inside jokes, habits, and personal histories, even if the camera only catches a glimpse. Spano's grounded presence made the entire cast feel completely real, just another face in the crowd that gave the film its documentary style. After American Graffiti, Spano built a long, highly respected career on television and stage, becoming a familiar face on Hill Street Blues, Night Blue, and later as spy agent Tobias Fornell on the hit show Narcissus. His steady work turned him into one of those familiar actors audiences instantly trust the moment he shows up. In 2026, he turns 80. Vic remains a small but enduring part of American Graffiti because Spano helped shape a nostalgic film into a living, breathing world. Laurie gave the movie its aching, beautiful portrait of young love right on the edge of change. She was played by Cindy Williams, born August 22nd, 1947, in Los Angeles, California. Laurie was 25 when the film arrived in 1973. Her performance worked because her relationship with Steve felt painfully real. Two people who care deeply but feel the future pulling them in opposite directions. Laurie is sweet, emotional, proud, and deeply wounded by the total uncertainty of what comes after graduation. Williams brought genuine warmth and vulnerability without making her feel fragile. Every argument with Steve carries a heavy fear of being left behind, and every tender moment shows just how hard it is to close a chapter when your heart is still in it. Her acting anchored the film's emotional balance, proving that behind the music and classic cars lay real, painful heartbreak. After American Graffiti, Cindy Williams became a beloved sitcom star as Shirley Feeney on Lavin and Shirley, where her incredible comic timing and natural warmth made her a household name. She kept working in TV, theater, and film for years. Williams sadly passed away in 2023 at 75 after a brief illness. Laurie remains a cherished character because Williams made First Love feel hopeful, messy, and completely unforgettable. The cars have finally stopped cruising, the radios have gone quiet, and that warm California night now belongs to memory. Yet American Graffiti still captures the heavy feeling of youth before the door closes, the laughter, the longing, the last chances, and those bittersweet goodbyes nobody fully understands at the time. Some of the cast became absolute legends. Others lived quieter lives, and far too many have left us. Still, their young faces forever glow under those bright neon lights. Which of these stories touched you the most? Leave a comment, hit like and subscribe, and join us next time on Hollywood 1960s.